So, you survived, and you've come back for Aetheral Space 3.35. The return of Damien.
Who's Damien?
I don't know, but he's coming back.
Oh, fuck. So yeah, last time on Aetheral Space, Skipper got back the friends, and Citizen, Noel, Murray, and Simeon were all, like, you know, escaping through the sewers, and then Simeon was like, why don't you tell me your real plans, man? And then the Citizen was like, die! And then fucking cut Simeon's head off, and Deer gave a monologue about how he killed a guy, and then Dragon was like, life's what you make it, man. And those things were equivalent. And now we're here. Did I miss anything?
That's pretty much it.
I did it kind of out of order, though. I think I recapped literally backwards.
You did, yes.
So put that in reverse order. Watch this video backwards and you'll get it in the right order. Yeah. Okay. The movie was trash. Absolute trash. The characters were pencil thin. The plot was not... Oh, is this about Aetheral Space?
Yeah, the plot was not... We're the chapter after you done here.
What? I'm literally reading it.
That's the joke. You're just sort of giving your opinion.
The plot was non-existent and the closing thing to a selling point. The closest thing to a selling point was the occasional inappropriate camera angle on the main actress. It was as if someone had taken the word trash, stretched it to about 2 hours and 5 minutes, and used it as the script for a film. It was exactly what Golago... Golago? Oh wait, that's the Umbrant guy, never mind.
What?
I was like, what an epic name. I love the name Golago. But I forgot he was already an existing character.
He's not, you've not met him before. There's more than one Umbrant.
Wait, this... I know, but wasn't his name also G something?
It was, yeah, but not Golago.
Okay, that's why I got confused because of the G's. Sorry. It was exactly what Golago was looking for. The Umbrant watched eagerly as yet another action scene erupted on the massive screen before him, the characters alternating between dodging explosions and fighting off the horses of supremacy agents that had surrounded them. Hordes. That makes way more sense. He'd have to send his regards to the director for that last touch. The propaganda angle wasn't something he'd considered when he commissioned this picture. He was sat alone in a massive theater, going through the massive number of flicks that were waiting to be injected into Talden's film industry. This wasn't actually a theater, of course. It was just Golago's TV room. But he'd had it designed to give off that same impression. Why does Golago sound like a Hunter x Hunter character?
They pop into my head when I wrote his name. Golago.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just gonna show up in like a fucking cardigan and be like, "Ooh, Dragon! Here's my Nen attack." His hand fished in his popcorn bucket, seized the last few kernels, and brought them back up to his mouth. He'd found the title a little bit drab at first, all those years ago, but these days he really did consider himself a sponsor. Oh shit! It's the sponsor of Dreams! We know this guy, right? What was the voice I'd been giving him? It was like the ooh,
yeah,
right?
a little bit like that.
What else could he be called? He heard the cries of those wanting to create, of those wanting their creations to shine, and he gave them the resources to make it happen. Sure, he gave himself some executive control over the production, but that was just how these types of businesses worked. And besides, his changes were for the better, every single time. As the image on the screen shifted to a near-obscene romance scene between two minor characters, someone sat down in the seat next to Golago. He felt their presence, a kind of pressure that couldn't be ignored. "This is a good scene," said Golago calmly, putting his empty bucket of popcorn, I assume?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, popcorn down on the seat's armrest. Oh, fuck! I knew this was what was gonna be! He's assassinating the lieutenants! "I don't much care for features like this," the man next to him said, his voice like metal scraping together. "They've always seemed somewhat unsatisfying compared to real war." Real war, huh? You got some experience with that, pal. Wait, do these two know each other, or does he just not think he's in any danger? Mm-hmm. "You already know I do." Like they're just talking so casually. "This is not one of your productions, sponsor of Dreams. Do not play stupid." Golago smirked to himself. It was the Citizen, then. The superstar who'd become a persistent thorn in their sides. It wasn't like anyone else... Oh, this was the information Sate give, who all the fucking people are. Yeah. It wasn't like anyone else could have made it through all the security posted outside anyway. Still, best to ask for appearance's sake. My bodyguards? Dead. That's a shame, Goligo said calmly. How long have I got them? The citizen chuckled, a cold, hollow sound. You're very calm. I intend to kill you in about 30 seconds' time. Unless you'd be willing to provide information of use to me. Goligo reached into his cup holder, pulled out his soft drink, and took a long and noisy slurp through the plastic straw. It went down smooth and cold, just the way he'd always liked it. Sorry, he said, smacking his lips to savor the flavor as much as possible. I've never been much of a tattletale. I see. Sound of the film's climax was, for a brief moment, drowned out by the sudden and incessant slicing of meat. To his credit, Goligo didn't so much as shout. He was much too engrossed in the spectacle of it all. Credits began to roll. The sponsor of dreams is dead, said the sponsor. Wait, what was the sponsor of War's voice again?
Maybe a bit more like this. He's imagine Worf.
Gotcha. The sponsor of dreams is dead. Like that?
Yeah.
Said the sponsor of war, addressing the gathered sponsors, as well as President Chael and Secretary Zhao. Nobody said a word. It wasn't the silence of a vigil, though, but the quiet concentration of rats determining how best to twist this situation into their favor. For a good long while, the only sound was the hum of the hologram projectors in the walls and floor. The sponsor of plenty broke the silence. I think it's time we ask, she asked. Is it porcine or porcine?
It's porcine.
Porcine avatar writhing as it turned from one of its fellows to the other. Just how we've managed to find such a useless president. Chael shuffled awkwardly, staring down at his shoes like a scolded child. Zhao did his best to restrain the contempt in his eyes, but he knew he hadn't quite managed it. I'm afraid... I don't want to bother voices, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna... I'm afraid I must concur. The sponsor of expansion launched into a monologue, tentacles angrily crashing through the air in time with his words. His usual grandfatherly tone, I assumed. Tone had turned to low... Wow, all sorts of fucking typos in this one, Tan. Shaking my head.
I'm so pissed off, I'll kill you, Darnell.
His usual grandfatherly tone had turned low and harsh, a genuine rage bubbling just under the surface. Yes, concur! We have asked not once, but twice of the President, our President, that he executes his public duty and ensures those who threaten the peace of Talden be brought to justice. And yet, is the citizen dealt with? Is he wounded, brought low, shown his folly? Quite the opposite, no! The final denial shook the room, such was the force of it. Wait, what was that, Industries again? I'm just gonna make it up. Expansion, snapped the sponsor of Industry, silver body creaking. It would be best if we all kept our heads. Wait. I'm getting confused.
What?
I'm sorry, they all have similar names. No! The sponsor of Expansion cried again. No, nay! We have kept our heads for long enough, and where has that taken us, Have we reached verdant and green fields? Has opportunity knocked upon our doors? The answer is, as ever, as expected, in the negatory! We have been met with bitter disappointment, and all of it stemming from the incompetence of that man there! Chael simply stood there, shivering as the anger of the sponsors turned directly upon him. Even Zhao, standing close, could feel it. It was as if they were being illuminated by a dozen fiery spotlights. Nothing to say? Plenty hissed, baleful eyes glaring with contempt for Chael's very existence. Were there only 5 sponsors?
There were, yeah. Well, there's 6. But Sate was one of them.
6. Who? Right, Sate is gone. Goligo's gone. Okay, 6, yeah. Chael shuffled, his voice meek and quiet as he spoke. It was the S4 who actually failed. I didn't have control over that. You blame war for this? There was murder in Plenty's tone. As perhaps he should, Industry cut in, a flare of light from within his metal body grabbing the attention of those gathered. He turned to face the silent sponsor of war. You asked us to put our trust in you, War, and told us that you would resolve the situation. I fail to see any evidence of that actually happening. Have some damn respect! Plenty shouted. Why the fuck is Plenty, Plenty,
Plenty is
Why is she
consistently
so in
been a
his
sin
defense?
before.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I have nothing but respect for my esteemed colleague, Industry went on, just as I respected the sponsor of Dreams. We cannot deny that in the course of a few days we have gone from the 6 most powerful people on the planet to the 4 most powerful. This is not a trend I much care for. On the planet? War chuckled quietly. You find this You find this amusing, War? Expansion's voice boomed, forcing Zhao to put his hands... What? Wait, I thought Industry was the old guy.
No. Expansion's the guy who doesn't shut the fuck up when he's really old.
Then who was Industry? I was doing the wrong voice a second ago.
Industry was fine.
You find this amusing, War? Expansion's voice boomed, forcing Zhao to put his hands to his ears. Laughable? Humorous? Some kind of joke, perhaps? Well, we, comrades in arms, we do not agree. Not in the slightest. You offer us soothing words and deliver nothing but failure. Unrepentant failure in the extreme. With the only profit made being the number of corpses. Watch your fucking mouth! Plenty snarled, but the flow of the conversation had turned against her. Anything to say, War? Industry creaked, hollow eyes staring right at the bowl. Zhao gulped. The tension was so thick in this room, he swore he could feel it pressing down on his shoulders, threatening to crush him into a fine paste the second he lost his nerve. He glanced at Chael, the president looking just as shaken, still staring down at the floor. I asked for a fortnight, War said calmly, his words just as soothing as Expansion had described. A fortnight has not yet passed. I ask only for patience, my friends. The disinformation countermeasures Dream put together, why rest his soul, are still intact. I assure you all of this will be resolved in due time. Industry didn't seem impressed. So all you can offer us is wait and see. It is a matter of faith, my friend, War said. I have always acted in the interest of this council. Please, trust that I do the same now. I will not allow all our work to be for nothing. You can believe that, if nothing else, can't you? I am not a trusting man, War, Industry snapped. It's why I'm still alive. It seems I must deal with this matter myself. Expansion, a word after the meeting, if you please. And with that, Industry shattered into shards of fading metal, the person controlling it leaving the meeting. The other 3 left, too, without so much as a word to Chael or Zhao. It seemed that the tensions that had erupted between them, I assume, had kept Chael's head out of the guillotine, if only for the moment. Chael patted his pockets, presumably searching for some form of narcotics, before sighing and letting his arms flop to his side. Must have left it in my other suit, he frowned. Zhao heroically resisted the urge to roll his eyes. He and his nose knew for a fact that Chael wore the same suit every day. They won't remain distracted for long, Zhao said softly, as though the sponsors were still in the room with them. How do you intend to appease them? Shrugged Chael with confidence he clearly didn't feel. These things tend to work themselves out. He strolled out of the meeting room, and as he moved down the hallway, his white-suited bodyguard silently fell in the step with him. If nothing else, Chael was diligent when it came to covering his own back. Fucking banger line. I'm gonna pass off to you because my throat really hurts.
Yes.
Sorry.
Ruth hugged her knees as she glared forwards, as though she was trying to burn through empty space with just the strength of her gaze. She'd failed. She was a failure. A sudden flare of anger animated her, and she struck the bed beneath her with such strength that light fixtures rattled above. After they'd come back from the hospital, security had been quick to move the members of the crew into separate rooms. A punishment for failure, maybe? Ruth didn't know. She didn't know anything. Still, though, it seemed to her that the line between working for these people and being arrested by them was getting blurrier all the time. If this was a punishment for failure, then it was a failure that lay at her feet alone. Skipper had trusted her to grab Sate, and she'd frozen up at the first sign of danger. She hadn't even tried to fight the citizen, she just let him walk all over her. If he'd raised a blade towards her, could she have fought back? Would her cowardly legs have let her move then? She didn't know, and that was more terrifying than the prospect of death. She'd always defined herself by her willingness to act, to do something, what other people would just watch. It looked like she'd been lying to herself. What would Robin have said?
Wait, sorry for interrupting. I feel bad, this is like an emotional character moment, but I'm curious. So, the citizen's power is like making the blades appear and shoot out, but like, does that mean he has those blades recorded?
So, this is probably not going to be mentioned, but the way he does it is he alters his own skin. to make it sort of sharp metal blades.
Ooh. And then he, like, regrows his skin?
Yeah, and then Rogo more onto them to fire them out.
Gotcha. Sorry for interrupting. Please continue.
What would Robin have said to that? Some words of encouragement maybe, with a sad smile to go with it. Nice to look at, but never much help. What would North have said to that? The Umbran had never had a kind tongue, but he had given good advice on the rare occasion she'd sought it. The trouble with that kind of advice is that Ruth wasn't smart enough to come up with it on her own. She went to sigh, but it came out as a sob. Stupid. Stupid. And then we've got another scene here. You're thinking I don't know your faces, grunted Dragan as the guards pushed him down the hallway, but I remember your voices. Even through the modulation, Conscience can tell, you know. You keep messing with me like this and I'll find you. In this kind of situation, he had little other option for retribution than annoying his captors, and he was going to do a hell of a job at it. They weren't just going to shut him up. Shut him up, grunted the first guard to the second. And a moment later, Dragan felt a baton strike him right in the gut. It was quite effective. Dragan was then doubling over, his next threat turned into a choked cough as it left his mouth. With that, he couldn't muster much in terms of resistance as they dragged him through the hallways of the security complex, knees sliding against the smooth floor as he went. Left, right, straight, left, left. Even in a state of pain and disorientation, Dragan's mind couldn't help but track his progress through the complex. He started off in the infirmary, recovering from his injuries, but now he was being taken to a part of the complex he'd never seen before. An execution room, maybe? A convenient room in which to shoot him in the back of the head? Unlikely, but not impossible. The thought sent chills down Dragan's spine. Finally, his escorts reached a nondescript door off to the side of a storage room. One of them punched in a code on the keypad next to it, blissfully unaware that Dragan was memorising it just from the blurry movements of his finger. The door slid silently open. Nothing but blackness was visible beyond. "Get in there," said the guard behind him, shovering him into the dark room. He landed awkwardly on his hands, and as he did, he heard the door shut behind him. The small amount of light that had penetrated this room was instantly snuffed out. Shakily, Dragan reached up to his face, wiped away some of the blood that had dribbled from his lips. His ears detected the slightest hum coming from the walls. A hologram projector, without a doubt. There was a hollow click, and a moment later a flaming bull had burst into life just before him, bathing the room in its hellish red glow. Dragan had to squint. He hadn't been so close to the thing last time. The sponsor of war blinked slowly, placidly. "Dragan Hadrian," it said, "I have an offer for you."
An offer you can't refuse. I'm curious. So, I have a theory, by the way. I was reminded of this. Here's the thing. This is how bad my memory was. I thought of this at work, and I was like, I'm going to tell Tane when I got home, and then I immediately forgot. But I was reminded when Robin came up. So, Skipper, he was very against his friends knowing his name, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, of course, that could mean he's attached to, like, supremacy royalty in some way, or maybe he's, like, he did some infamous shit in the past, but it doesn't seem to me like Ruth really is the type of person that knows a lot about that stuff. So I had a thought, I had a realization. What if he was the person, or one of the people that burned Robin?
It's an interesting thought.
A little food for thought there. And I guess my question for this week is, what the fuck do you think the sponsor of War's offer is? I imagine it's going to be something like, get Muzazi to help and we'll let you go, or some shit. Or maybe it's interrogate Muzazi, which he would be all over. I don't fucking know. Really, what does Dragan have to offer, to be honest? The only thing I can think of is something involving either the people he knows or his cogitant abilities, because like he doesn't have aether power, and he's clearly been defiant, so he's not going to obey like a specific plan. So I'm curious what the bargain's going to be here, and why him specifically. But I suppose we'll find that out next time. A part of me wants to keep reading, but my voice is like too worn out from like the rah voices, so I don't think I can do do chapter.
No worries at all.
But I really want to keep reading.
Well, I do appreciate your enthusiasm.
I do. I'm not just like, you know, you're my friend. I don't just like all your works. I just really like Aetheral Space. I happen to like a lot of your works, but I don't like all of them. I'm just like, I just enjoy this. It's a good series, and people should give it more of a chance. And I can't wait for it to get an anime one day, and I will be the voice of Skipper. I will be the voice of Skipper.
There's no one else can do the voice.
No one else can do the dub.
Hey, Dragon.
Except for actual Patrick Warburton.
I turned him into a heartbeat pickle. Funniest shit I've ever seen.
Heartbeat pickle, fuck off! It's true, we know he uses his heartbeat, but he can just kind of use any sound, right? Does he call it like Sonic something when he uses other sounds?
No, it's the same name. It's for brand recognition.
Oh, I see. Fucking Skipper doing the Doki Doki with like putting his hands in the heart. Oh, that's what I should have done. A fan art of Skipper putting his hands together like a heart. Doki Doki shotgun. Because that's what he's doing. Because Doki Doki's supposed to be like the sounds of a heartbeat, so it could in anime be called Doki Doki shotgun. I want you to think about that.
Well, with that thought, we will leave you for today.
Doki Doki bayonet.
Thank you for reading and listening.
Yes. Bye.